Hello and welcome to History on the Hoof. Today we're on the moorland road between Swaledale and Archaeology on Old Gang Beck, above the picturesquely named Surrender Bridge, where we're going to take a look at Surrender Mill, built to smelt lead into pigs, the long oblong casks that weighed on average about 75 kilos or 12 stone. For those of us who remember the original BBC James Herriot adaptation, the water splash used in the opening credits is just over the next hill. But back to the mining. The whole area is linked by the evocative name Surrender. There are the Surrender mines that riddle the hills, and the Surrender Mining Company, as well as the Surrender Bridge and Surrender Mill. The name arises from a long-running dispute between landowners trying to establish a boundary, and hence access to rich veins of lead beneath. The dispute ran from 1675 until 1798, or 123 years, in and out of court, until it was finally settled by arbitration. The land handed over being triumphantly named Surrender by the victorious parties. The mill that we see today was built in 1841, very close to two earlier smelt mills dating back to 1674 and 1682. And these were built by guys called Philip Swale and Robert Barker. Along with the mill, we can see the peat store to the northeast and the flue and chimney snaking up the hillside, crossed by the coast-to-coast footpath. The mills on site were giving trouble by the early 1800s and were in disrepair by 1818. In 1836, bellows and water wheel were overhauled for the last time. During this period, 1799 to 1840, it was worked by the Chater family under the Earl of Pomfret. In 1840, Dr. Robinson, a GP from Reeth, became principal partner, deciding he could make more money in mining than doctoring, and he owned shares in Arkandale, the Old Gang and Surrender and other mines. In 1839, a new lease was drawn up. As part of the terms, they had to build a new mill and 500 yards of flue. This they did, and this is what we can see today, although the flue was extended to around 745 metres or 2,440 feet after 1854. The flue is unusual, as in parts it has been mined or dug rather than channelled out and capped with stones, and it can be seen how the builders of the flue utilised old mine workings that were already there. The mill was built in an unusual symmetrical plan, with two ore hearths on one side and an ore hearth and slag hearth on the other. It was equipped with sufficient machinery to work 4 ore hearths. Water to power the wheel and bellows was brought in a wood launder or trough from the small dam to the north of the mill. The waste was carried away in another covered channel to the beck. The furnaces were powered by peat, cut from the moorland and stored in a peat house in a long thatched building supported by stone pillars and open to the wind along the sides to dry it. The peat store here at Surrender Mill is 188 feet long and 15 feet wide, and is situated up on the hillside to the northeast. Water was also used to swirl through the flue, where men would work with rakes, scraping off the lead-filled sludge for more extraction. As well as being extremely toxic, there are accounts of many nasty accidents of men being washed out and almost drowned in sludge. Inside the mill you can still see the pairs of hearths in the left and right hand smelting rooms, either side of the central chamber, which contain the wheel pit and boiler. Either side of the curving flue were areas where the ore was stored before smelting. In the back right-hand corner was the roasting furnace and chimney. The smelt mill closed in 1880 with 162 loads of peat taken up the valley to Old Gang Smelt Mill. It was maintained by its owners until 1902, when its roof timbers, slates, copings, doors and floorboards were sold at auction. In August 1909, the Stang and Cleasby Lead Mine Limited paid £50 for the mill's 14-foot diameter wooden water wheel, and after 235 years, lead processing ceased at Surrender Bridge. Today it's quite rightly a scheduled monument and protected by the state. Do go and visit. I hope you enjoy this episode of History on the Hoof and look forward to speaking to you again soon. If you liked it, please subscribe.